Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Here we go. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. Oh, I understand now what I'm here for and what this life is about. What this life is about. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Here we go. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. It's about love and it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love and it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love and it's about service, it's about lending a hand. Lending a hand. Woo! Here we go. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors and let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine.
Welcome to Unity Comox Valley. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for your commitment and for your involvement and participation in your spiritual community. Before we go into our opening prayer, I would like to invite you to bring to mind some intention, some spiritual intention that you would like to set for the day. This could be any kind of quality, any kind of good quality. It could be peace or harmony, joy, strength, faith, anything like that. We know, it's a universal principle and it's one of our unity principles, that whatever we focus on, whatever we put our mind on, whatever we have a lot of feelings about, is going to generate an impact in our lives and particularly in our day. So knowing this, let's be mindful about what we choose to think about and feel strongly about. Let's take into mind something that will be a contribution to the wellness and the benefit of all people, including ourselves. So take a moment and think, what light would you like to shine on your path today? Now let's bring that into our opening prayer. So we take a moment to settle ourselves a little bit for this time and this purpose. We can do that by closing our eyes, if that's comfortable, or certainly taking a few mindful breaths. Helps us bring our attention to this now moment. We just watch the beautiful way that breath enters and leaves the body. We know that breath is one of the expressions of divine life that lives within us. That is who we are. We know that we are creations of the one Creator. And so we have within us all the same qualities that God, Spirit, Universal Mind, Source has. And that we can dive anytime into that well. We can realign ourselves at any moment with that source of all good. No matter what situation we are in, no matter what circumstance, no matter what person we are with, we can tap into that divine source and find our joy and our strength and our faith and our wisdom. We acknowledge that these times that we are living through right now can be challenging. So in this state of gratitude and grace, we say thank you and amen.
According to my faith, just as I believe it, this is the world I see. I expand and open, knowing nothing is impossible. What I expect shall be. Unlimited God in me. According to my faith, just as I believe it, this is the world I see. I expand and open, knowing nothing is impossible. What I expect shall be. Unlimited God in me. According to my faith, just as I believe it, this is the world I see. I expand and open, knowing nothing is impossible. What I expect shall be. Unlimited God in me. According to my faith, just as I believe it, this is the world I see. I expand and open, knowing nothing is impossible. What I expect shall be. Unlimited God in me. Unlimited God in me. Unlimited God in me.
We are entering our third month of distancing. And I remember back in early March when I heard that this may last months and not just weeks. I was shocked. I couldn't even imagine what that might be like. After I worked through that shock, I thought, okay, well, if I've got some time, maybe I can work on some of these home projects that I've been having on the back burner, or sometimes even way further away than the back burner, things that I thought, well, I'd get around to when I retire or something like that. And maybe you've had some of those projects as well. And we've been, pretty much happily working our way through those. The other day I saw a photograph of a woman holding a sign, and she says, "All my closets are cleaned out. Can this end now?" And I think perhaps you've also shared that feeling. And it's okay to, well, it's more than okay. It's really imperative for us to also acknowledge the human, reactions and responses that we're having to this time that we are living through right now. And at the same time, I'm so grateful that I have much more than my human reactions and responses to live my life by, that I also have spiritual principles that I can rely on for my sense of well-being and happiness. These are the principles that I know I can always go back to, that are always there, as I mentioned in our opening prayer, that are alive within me, and I can always touch on that when I'm feeling the weight of the human experience. So today we're going to look at some of the ways that we are spiritually supported all the time. And but first, a song. A few weeks ago, we started a series called Spiritual Transformation Through Life's Changes. 3 months ago, all of humanity, we included, entered the school of life change. And some of us might be maybe reluctant students. Some of us might be saying, I didn't sign up for this. Some of us might be saying, when is this going to be end? I'm done. I don't remember applying. And yet, here we are. Here we are. Enrolled in a course of living life differently, not even knowing what the assignments are or when the program is complete. Part of my life's purpose is facilitating transformation. And transformation always involves change. So I've looked at ways that we have become entrenched in what was or even what is right now. And I'm excited about looking for and exploring and integrating change into the context of spiritual community. So because this is one of my passions, it was important for me to know about the topic of people and change. And so I did quite a bit of research on that and actually took some seminars and did some reading. Because we've probably all heard the phrase, people don't like change. Well, this is what I found out. People can be okay with change. And there's two things that enable us to be okay with change. The first one is information. The second one is information and time. We need time. Now the thing is, of course, not all of us require the same amount of information or the same amount of time to be okay with change. And so that gets really tricky when you're working with a group of people, including a spiritual community. But if you have been at Unity Comox Valley for even a couple of years, what you'll know and have seen and experienced is that we do incorporate change, that we are changing. And this is good because it means we're alive. But today we find ourselves in a change that we were probably not prepared for, that we had very little time to adjust to, and we have, very little information. And that information changes from day to day. So that means that we're probably not all 100% on board with this way that we are living right now. So let's get back to our series, Spiritual Transformation Through Life's Changes. So a quick review, change is natural. All life needs change in order to survive and to thrive. That includes us. That change begins with an ending and then moves into a middle period of time of unknown. And then the third step is a new beginning. So today we're going to explore that middle phase, that uncertainty phase that we are in right now. You may remember that I had started sharing something about the Moses story, and mostly because it's a perfect example of what we are living through right now, particularly this middle phase. So the historical piece is there was someone named Moses. Maybe you heard the story about the burning bush, and he got this, listened to God, who said, go into Egypt and free the slaves free the Hebrew slaves. And so Moses went to Egypt, freed the slaves. They came out into the desert or the wilderness, were wandering around there for 40 years, and in the end they entered the promised land. It's a great story. Many movies have been made from this storyline. But we're going to take a metaphysical approach and do two things. See how every aspect of the story is an aspect of ourselves. And secondly, to glean the wisdom that is there for us to use right now in our lives. So first, let's talk about the people that followed Moses out into the desert. Those people represent our thoughts. And so those thoughts and what those people say in the story of Exodus is, I don't like this. I want to go home. What are we going to eat? What are we going to drink? How will we survive in the desert, in this wilderness? How long? I want to go back. Maybe you can relate to some of these thoughts. And then we have the main character, Moses. Moses is also a part of us. It's an aspect of us. We all have a Moses within us. And Moses represents the enlightened leader, the one who can stand strong in the midst of the voices of fear, the one who has faith, acts from faith, the one who tunes into and asks for and aligns himself with that still small voice, listens for it and acts on it. All of those qualities are part of Moses and are also within us. There's so many stories about the 40 years in the wilderness, but I just like to focus on one right now. So the people are out in the desert. They just got out into the desert, and guess what happens? After a few days, they run out of food, and they start to grumble. And this is kind of like a theme in this whole 40 years, is the people grumbling to Moses. And so again, those are these thoughts that we have, saying, I don't like this, I wish it was different, can we go back, that kind of thing. So they're hungry, and they complain to Moses. Well, Moses, being a wise leader, takes it to God, right? We would call that now, we would go inside, we would align ourselves with our divine wisdom. In this story, Moses has a conversation with God. And God tells Moses this. When Moses says, the people are hungry, what should I do? God says, I will rain down bread from heaven for you. The people are to go out each day and gather enough for that day. On the 6th day, they are to gather twice as much so that they can rest on the Sabbath. The next morning, there were thin flakes, like frost, on the desert floor. When the people saw it, they said to Moses, what is this? We've never seen it before. And Moses says to them, it is the bread the Lord has given you to eat. Everyone is to gather only as much as you need for the day, no more. However, this human story is so, beautiful right here in the Bible. However, some of them paid no attention to Moses. They saved some of it for the next day. But in the morning, it was full of maggots. So what can we learn from this story? Every day, every moment, we are surrounded with what is needed to sustain us and nourish us. We are never without. It may not look like what we expected. It may not take the form that we expected. Like the people said, what is this? Right? They'd never seen it before. And Moses said, this is our daily bread. This is how we're going to live. So our good shows up. It's there for us, but perhaps not in a form that we were familiar with. Secondly, when we try to keep something from the past, there's always all kinds of ways you can interpret this, but for me, it's like when we try to keep something from the past and think that we're going to use it for today, sometimes we find out it doesn't work. Well, of course it doesn't work because it was in the past, on that day, in that time in our lives for a purpose. And now we are somewhere else. So it's not going to nourish us. It's not going to sustain us. It's not going to feed us. It is of no benefit to us. So that whole idea of some of the people thinking, well, I know, God said that it was going to be there for us every day, but, just in case, I'll save some for tomorrow, and then it's rotten. It's a great metaphor for some of the things that we do. We could be hoarding thoughts or beliefs or attitudes or belongings that are really no longer have any purpose. Yesterday, we got what we needed for yesterday. Today, we have what we need for today. And tomorrow, we will be provided with what we need for that day. And this is where the phrase, give us this day our daily bread, comes from. The third thing we can learn from this story, so one is that we are always surrounded by by what we need. Second is we need to let go of yesterday, of what we thought, would be good for us. Yesterday is not necessarily good for us today. And the third thing is, when we hear that voice of despair or worry, there's no need to push it away. Moses didn't desert the people on the desert. He stayed with them, so he didn't push them away or tell them they had to get out when they started complaining. So when we have those kind of complaining voices within us, we don't need to push them away. All we need to do is turn back to our Moses, right? To our enlightened thinking, to the place where we have access to wisdom and guidance and strength and faith, creativity, ideas, resources. It's a great story and has wonderful wisdom for us today, particularly in these times. These are the things that the people learned when they were out in the desert, in that place of unknowing, in that place of having left something that they, that they knew and have not yet arrived in the promised land. So let's take that into our time of prayer and contemplation.
In the silence I can feel the love. In the silence I can rise above. In the silence I can hear the voice. In the silence I am home. In the silence I can feel the love. In the silence I can rise above. In the silence I can hear the voice. In the silence I am home. In the silence I can feel the love. In the silence I can rise above. In the silence I can hear the voice. In the silence I am home.
Thank you, and welcome this morning to another time when we can be with Spirit, centered in prayer, and to allow ourselves to relax our bodies and to relax our minds, bringing in peace and thoughts of peace of life and beauty all around us. So come be in this space, in this inner sanctuary, and be one with Spirit. As I awaken today in love, may I remember where I am, for I am in the mind of God. May I allow myself to awaken in this natural state, for in this state there is no effort at all. And so I arrive in grace each moment, now and in the next, simply as I am, completely whole, safe, and love itself. May is a month of gratitude and a celebration of the feminine aspect of God, God the Mother, who creates and nurtures all things, including ourselves. The beauty of May draws us out of hibernation into a natural mindfulness of the blessing and abundance of nature. We wake up. Spring calls us to simplify our lives so that we can enjoy everything more thoroughly and graciously. Our relationships, our homes, our possessions. In May, our hearts remember what our minds sometimes forget, that life is a gift of inestimable value. It is time to unwrap the gift. Listen to the voices within you as they speak from the heart of Mother Earth and of our Creator. Divine Mother, thank you for bringing the world into being once again this morning. Let me feel your peace and stillness. Let me feel your arms wrapped around me as I let go to your divine presence with each out-breath. As I walk in the world today, let me appreciate every aspect of nature as your handiwork, pausing to feel your pulse, your breath in all that lives. By the power, by the power of divine life, I thrive. The light of divine life shines within the cells of my body and in every center of my awareness. The promised fullness of life is mine as I bask in the light of wholeness, vitality, strength, and well-being. God is the light of life that I realize. As we take this into the silence, by the power of divine life, I thrive. My eyes can see the beautiful potential within me and all around me. I welcome every blessing in a spirit of gratitude and generosity. By the power of faith, I have inner vision. I can see beyond appearances to the truth. I can perceive the ripened fruit before the first blossom appears on the tree. As I breathe in the silence of prayer, I am filled with faith, and I am faithful. For I choose to value nothing of myself today, but the love I am. May I breathe easy, my body relaxed, and each cell awaken to the joy and the peace of arriving in grace each moment of this day. Gently, guided by easy breathing, we close this time of prayer. And in the hours ahead, let us choose to be anchored in the peace, wisdom, life, and faith. Let gratitude be our guide for all we say, all that we will say and do. Let us conclude with our unity prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Blessings and namaste.
Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I need is here and now. Where there's air, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender, let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore. loving spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without, all I need is here and now. Where there's air, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender, let it be. Loving spirit dwells in me, now and evermore.
Welcome back. I like to save this spot for messages from you. Many of you have sent some thoughts for the day or some words that you'd like to share, and so I will be sharing some of those, two or three of them every week. So please keep them coming. Let me see what we've got here. So Pat Wickware had a piece of wisdom that she'd like to share. Her mother, Catherine, would remind her of this and would speak this phrase, "This too will pass. This too will pass." And Pat said, make sure to say that she always, this message was always accompanied by a warm, comforting hug. Don Cropley dropped a line to say he is doing well and to say hi to everybody. Lucia passed on a thought from the book Heart Steps by Julia Cameron, and this is the thought. When we remember God with us and us within God, fear drops away. Loneliness passes. Reunion and rejoicing fill my heart. When we remember who we are, we know there is only union, only hope, only good unfolding for us all. Well, thank you, Lucia. As I said, keep sending your thoughts, info@unitycomoxvalley.com. will get them to me. So I'd like to take time now to give thanks for what we have received. We could perhaps bring to mind, perhaps it's just our daily bread, the thing that is sustaining us, the thing that is keeping us alive right now. Or perhaps something special has happened to you in the past week. So I invite you to bring that blessing that you have experienced to mind and hold it in your heart as the gift that it is. To those of you who have sent your donations to Unity Comox Valley, thank you. We appreciate it. We are in the flow of giving and receiving. And we know that every gift we give blesses us 10 times over. Whether it's a smile, a card, a phone call, an email, or a financial gift. We know that we are blessed as much as the blessing that it sends out into the world. So with joy in your hearts and minds, please join me in our affirmation. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. One more time. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. I'd like to remind you of the touch points that you can make contact with your Unity family, with your spiritual community every week. If you go onto the website, what you'll see on the main page is the Sunday service, something like this, and also a meditation that you can listen to. You'll also notice on that page that there's a little tab called Listen. And if you click on that tab, what you will see are a whole bunch of meditations. So you can just listen to those, you can listen to a different one every day, you can come back to a favorite one. Those are all there under the Listen tab. If you click on the Watch tab, what you will see are all the previous Sunday services. And there's a pretty good collection there now, maybe 9 or 10 of them. So if you missed one, you can always go back at your own time on whatever day of the week suits you, with your cup of tea in your comfortable chair, and still stay connected with us. Every week there's a newsletter, so please, if you are not receiving that newsletter, send an email to info@unitycomoxvalley.com, and we will put you on the list. You can always unsubscribe anytime you like, but that newsletter is full of information and inspiration, and many people are enjoying it. Lots of resources there for you. So please send us an email, drop us a line. The board and I are committed to supporting and serving the spiritual community in any way that we can right now. So we would love to hear your thoughts, your feedback, your comments, your questions. So now we're going to go in our mind and in our hearts into our closing circle. So if you can imagine, you've all experienced this many times, everyone standing up and finding a place in the room, holding hands, sharing a smile or a hello with someone. So let's see if we can picture that in our hearts and minds. We know that the circle is a symbol of our connection, and it's so important to remember right now that it is a symbol, especially in these times when we can't actually make the circle. We give thanks that our connection is much, goes way beyond time and place, much more than our human bodies. We take time now to bring to mind if there's someone or some circumstance that is weighing on your heart, to bring it into this circle of love, of light, of strength, of faith. We've all heard stories or read stories about those who are working and sacrificing so much for the goodness and the well-being of everyone on the planet. Let's just bring them into our hearts for a moment. We also recognize that our human activity and impact on the planet has lessened over the last few months, and that our beautiful Mother Earth is, oh my gosh, all kinds of wonderful restoration is taking place. Clear air, clean water, animals, forests, the sea. We know that what we hold in our hearts right now, that love, that compassion, that spiritual strength, is not confined to us, because it's in the field of oneness, that it is really spreading out over the planet, through our community, out our country, all around this big, beautiful planet. And we remember that we can do this at any time. We can do this several times throughout the day. Just be still and start generating some goodness. It will be felt by everything and everyone. We have a purpose. We have a reason that we are here right now. So let's make sure that we use it, contributing to the well-being of all. So we're grateful for the role that we play, for the potential that we have, for the purpose that we are living. In that state of gratitude, we say thank you. Thank you. So it is. Amen. And now our closing song. The divine in me greets the divine in you.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us, that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one sun. I choose love. Yes, I do. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose